What's good, people? It's S. Foster back for another 28 minutes or less. And today I got my guy on with me. Huge part of the podcast. Here's intro music. I was about to say every podcast, but it's not every podcast. We just finally got it kicked in for the last couple of podcasts. But got my guy Casey Lorr on with me. And before I get started, episode 42 of the 28 minutes or less podcast. So first of all, man, how you feeling today, man? Is everything good with you?
Everything. I'm still waking up a little bit, sipping on that coffee, but it's gonna be a great day. It's already beautiful outside. I hear the birds. It's all good.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. In my area, man, it's supposed to be a little rainy, man. It's supposed to be a damp day. So, but I need it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, man. With how heavy and thick the pollen be getting, I be needing some rainy days, man. You know what I'm saying, to wash some of this stuff out. Clear the air a little bit, so I'm able. For me and my oldest boy is actually able to breathe. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be good, man, to get some of that rain to come through and wash some of this pollen away, man.
Yeah, I agree. My wife and daughter's dealing with it too. It hardly ever bothers me, so I'm thankful for that. But everybody else is suffering.
Oh yeah, man. Look, but you don't know how lucky you are, man. My youngest boy, he always be like, Dad, why I'm not allergic to pollen? Why I don't have allergies? And I was like, listen, son, it ain't what you want. Like this, this is something you should be thankful for, man. This is something I struggled with for a very long time. So
Hmm.
it ain't nothing that you want. I said, be glad you ain't got this. But first order of business, man, like I wanted to get into. So you was able to, what I'm saying, get with the guy, what I'm saying, my co-host of the Viewers Anonymous podcast. You got together with Scoots Bronson and y'all did an interview, man, 15 minutes of fame. And I listened to it and I learned some things, man. I was like, I was listening to it thinking like, all right, man, I know my guy Casey, man. You know what I'm saying? He pretty much told me everything. But like, man, I was learning some things, man. Like I didn't know you was like you might have told me and it just like kind of like slipped my mind. But I didn't know you was like a battle DJ, man. Like I didn't know you was doing that type of stuff, man. And I'm listening to it and like I'm intrigued. I was like, whoa. I was like, I don't never remember hearing him say stuff like that, man. So it turned out to be a sensational interview, man. You and Scoots, man, y'all got a good chemistry on this music thing. But like so when y'all was going through all of that, man, like what was your I mean, I don't know if I want to call it your inspiration, but I just like what's up with the battle DJ thing, man. I don't think you ever told me that.
Oh man, that was when I was telling the story about when I seen when I went to that club in Spartanburg, and there's two levels, electronic music. The main headliner, he would be on the bigger dance floor, and then they'd always usually have a little bit of some basement room. It was tucked off, doing a completely different style. Well, I mean, not always that. It's usually similar music, but a lot of times there's different levels. You got dark drum and bass versus jungle drum and bass versus liquid drum and bass. Just like hip hop. There's different levels to it. So, anyways, I went down and listened to this one DJ Satoshi. I still got the flyer for that. I think this was '99, and he was playing electronic music and scratching Pink Floyd uh, samples. So, I was just used to like vocal scratches and most of the hip hop uh, style scratches where it wasn't. It made a lot of drums or stuff, but this time it was guitar and the way he was doing it with another record just was really different. I guess is what I'm trying to say than what I a different way of scratching. And then he was actually doing kind of tricks and stuff um, so then that was pretty impressive. So then I started and then came across the like the DMC finals, and DJs prepare like a 3 minute set, and then whoever that's the battle DJ, and whoever best, they get a pair of gold techniques and a gold mixer at the end of the competition. I mean, they get sometimes sponsors and money too, but I mean, you got to look it up, man. Look up some the DMC finalist turntable setups that these DJs get when they win. I mean, they battle from the main one was in America, and then it spread everywhere. And it's still going on now. It's just a lot of times now they do it with digital. So like they'll have one record on the platter instead of switching up records. They have one record, and it'll have all of their sound loops, beats in order, so they can just move through their set without having to, take the records on and off. But yeah, I encourage anybody to go watch that, man. The skill and the storytelling, the placement, the all the tricks and the techniques as far as the different scratches. There's a whole lot to it. So like originally, I just got into, I think really what like I said, sparked my interest was just the scratching part of it, just how technical you could get with it. And, it was doing a lot more the normal scratch. So then, like I said, once I got more into that, and then started seeing other DJs who were really good at scratching, most of them were in the battle scene and they were preparing their sets. So like I already had a good bit of records of different styles, and I was like, I already got all these children's records, I got these vocal records, I got these comedy records, and the strange sounds, not just music, but all kind of crazy stuff. And I was like, man, I bet I got some good samples in there that I can mix with the music to help tell a story, and practice being a battle DJ, putting a set. And so yeah, that's just what I try to do. And most DJs that part the records together, they put them over a long period of time. And my other friends, that's what they was into. They wanted to learn that skill side of it. Of course, none of them. One guy had a couple turntables, but he didn't mess with it. I kept trying to buy his off of him, but eventually, I think I might have told the story of how I finally got some in the 15 minutes of fame. But yeah, so up until I sold my equipment, I was marking the records, and I don't know if I showed you before. I showed Scoops, but I'll just put it on here. See the dots?
Yep.
Like, hold up. Damn. Yeah. Anyways, that's where you drop the needle and then use it uh, use it against, look at it while you're scratching it to be able to precisely know exactly where you want, how to manipulate your sounds. So yeah, I was building up sets and practicing and trying to learn from DJ Cuber. He had kind of like he was like the main one as far as like he's definitely the most technical best scratcher out there. It's insane what the dude can do. So he had put out a video of different scratches to learn, and I was trying to learn them. I really didn't get that far, and but I did build a couple sets up. I had like some routines, but I never did compete. But I'd hoped to. So then that's where when I had to sell the equipment um, for some bills, then when I re-upped, I was like, I think I got all these samples, these records queued up. I could use these samples in make put them on music. So
Yeah, it look it was very interesting, man. Like I learned some things, and also me and Scoots was talking about you before we started podcasting. We put out the last viewers anonymous, and we mentioned the 15 minutes of fame, and he was like, "Yo, said Casey needs a podcast, man." He was like, he said he really needs to put out one. Like your music knowledge is, what I'm saying, it's unprecedented. Like it's, but then what's so great about it is that the fact that it's all over the place, and it's where the root of the music like begins. And that's the whole point of us having this podcast today, is because me and Scoops did a podcast where we was talking about sampled music. And so you listen to it, we Because we see each other, maybe not every day, but you know what I'm saying, most of the days during the week, or we'll either talk on your work phone at your job. And you were just saying like, yo, like y'all was teaching me some things that I didn't know, and you know, and you was like, I'm the sample guy. And it's like, well, you know what? It only makes sense to have you on, you know, for this conversation, because with you going through those crates and then being able to have the ear that you have, and I say this all the time, like obviously everybody got ears, but what I mean by ears is like there's a musical ear that everybody don't have, and some people's is more sophisticated than others. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you going on a scale, you know what I'm saying, from 1 to 10, right? And I would say I'm probably like, you know what I'm saying, like a, you know, I guess like okay, so let's say 10 is like Kanye West, The Alchemist, you know what I'm saying, Pharrell, Ninth Wonder. Let's say they the 10, right? So if we're doing that scale where like they tens, I would say I'm like a 4.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you like, you know what I'm saying, like a 7. Now that's high praise when you say Ninth Wonder and all of them is a 10. You know what I'm saying? And like Justice League and all those type people. But like I just think that you able to hear a song and be like, oh, I know where that originate from because I listen to so many old records. I know where that original sample came from. So give me some of your, I mean, not all of them, but like, what would you like to start on this ride that we're gonna give people when it comes to the sample music? Like, what's the first thing that come to mind when it comes to the sample music for you?
Well, I wanted to start off with wanted to kind of introduce people more to what I was talking about as far as the dance music, or and I'm using that. I'm gonna say dance music and electronic music because people who ain't went into that realm, that's really how we need to start to identify it. But I wanted to start with this these three guys from a group called Ganja Crew that in the late '90s was taking hip hop samples and other breaks, like drum, where that's, if nobody knows, it's like usually the part of the song where all the instruments fade out except for the drums. The drummer does his thing, and then that gets the energy going for the next part of the music. It's kind of like a transition and a showcase at the same time. So what they did was um, they started using, they used the hip hop form of sampling, but then they would speed up the drums. And sometimes they would speed up the samples too. So like a lot of times it was 160 BPM and up, and then eventually it went to 174 for like the main drum and bass. Of course, there's a bunch of other electronic uh, forms involved beside that and do that. And like I said before, there's a whole bunch of different genres within that one playing field. But I just wanted to give them some props and uh, talk about some. So they was we're gonna talk about DJ Hype first. His song "Stomp Your Feet," and he sampled "Amen Break," which is from 1969. The record is "Amen Brother" by the Winstons. Now, this is what everybody knows is the Amen Break. Like countless people in hip hop have used it at different BPMs, and it's pretty much evolved to the like one of the you know first five foundations of this whole genre. So it's one of the most sampled drum breaks ever. So, anyways, on that song, he also had on DJ Hype song "Stomp Your Feet." He had the Amen break, and he also had a song by Lynn Collins Think About It. Now that was produced by James Brown, and you can hear him singing in the background. And then you in that one, um, you can hear uh, the sample that a lot of people associate with called "It Takes Two" with Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, It Takes Two. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, but that yeah in there, they used it. But then a lot of times the DJ and his crew with DJ Zink and Pascal, they created garage and or jungle. They created jungle, and they would use that a lot of times. But it was sped. It was even more sped up sometimes than the sample, the way that Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock did it. But anyway, you'll hear that in a lot of hip hop and a lot of jungle. So just together for a little. The that Amen break was used in songs like Salt and Peppers, I Desire, uh, NWA, Straight Outta Compton, Eric B. and Rakim, Casual. And then on the jungle side, drum and bass side, LTJ Bookham used it on Atlantis. The song was I Need You. And then on this record, I got this record in my uh, electronic section. But anyways, it's a UK Apache and Shy Effects, Original Nothing. Now, yeah, man, I used to put that record on all the time. That was a jam. But let's see. So then I wanted to go through this part of hip hop and jungle, and that is the band. Now, uh, most people hear this, they're gonna recognize it. It's like, oh man, that's in so many songs. But the song was called Apache, and it was from 1973. Now the Sugar Hill Gang also did a song called Apache, just like that. Um, the people who used it was Goldie, Life, Chasing Status, and Ronnie Size. Uh, Ronnie Size has got a album. A lot of his albums got a lot of like jazz influences in it, and the jungle, and it's just classic stuff for blending the style, kind of like a lot of Tribe and Daylight with jazz, and there's plenty of other groups before them, that was incorporating jazz and hip hop. But that's kind of the lane that Ronnie Size was in, and intricate bass lines, man, and just funky. They would go in the studio and play instruments over it, where most people was programming everything. So, anyways, I got that record. That's the Incredible Bongo Band, and even before I knew that what that record was, it was like one of twos to mix stuff with because it's so funky and the drums don't have too much reverb on them, so they're mixed with other stuff. So I basically let this record play, scratch almost anything over it, or mix it with almost anything. Because on the turntables, you can speed things up and slow things down, and that's part of the that was part of the sampling process. You had the very early samplers in the beginning with like 8 or 12 seconds of sampling time, and that's what people don't realize about early hip hop and that it took so much work to move around samples and retry them and overdub to get all these things sitting right. You know what I mean? They sometimes they got 3 or 4 samples in the same song, but the genius of it is the perfect placement, the feel, the just how you put those reorganizes for a new puzzle. And so we got to give respect to sampling and all these people that just do all this hard work to fit those pieces in the puzzle. It's so much more than people give credit for. They think they line them back to back and do all that, but there's all kind of ways you flip it and to match. But anyways, is there anything you wanted to add before I go?
Yeah, because I love how, see, this is what great about having you on, because like you are explaining, like what me and Scoots did was more like, okay, right, one of my favorite bands, the SOS band, right? You know what I'm saying? They did one of my favorite songs, Just Be Good to Me. And Silk the Shocker flipped it would Just Be Straight with Me, right? And it's like, so basically all they did was they took they, you know what I'm saying, that they took like the bass line and like all of the like the piano, they took all that shit and they put it in the song. And see, like, so we were just talking about how people flip the songs, and like, or even throw something in like, okay, Ludacris did Diamond in the Back, right? That was on the Chicken and Beer album, right? So he flipped a William Devon song, Be Thankful for What You Have. And what's so funny about that track is like William Devon is talking about, all these things that you have, just be thankful for them. But when Ludacris did the song, like Ludacris is talking about how I got this, but I want more. Like the whole song, like every verse, he's talking about how he wants more stuff. Like even if it got a diamond in the back, some rooftop, digging in the scene with a gangster lean, he's like, yeah, but I also want this. Like I got hood dreams of wanting to get out the hood. So like we was more talking. Say what?
Yeah.
But like yeah, so we was just talking about like the the fundamentals of it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're talking about how, because like every time they sample a song, it ain't always like the record being exactly the way that it is. Sometimes they speed it up. Sometimes they take one piece of vocal. Sometimes they might even take a vocal and use somebody else to do that same vocal, but they're still using like similar to the track. Like you mentioned, the Sugar Hill Gang, Janae Aiko, she sampled one of their songs. I wish I could remember the name of the song that the Sugar Hill Gang did, but she did a song called Summer 2020. And like she used the whole like sample as in the way that it is. She didn't change anything. And so like there, like you was explaining, there's so many different ways to use these samples, as in speeding them up or slowing them up, or taking like just the keys from it and taking like the bass line out of it, or using the bass line and not using the keys in it. You see what I'm saying? And then like a lot of people use different samples on top of samples. I mentioned Rhapsody song Alfini. She sampled the Denise Williams record Free, but she also used uh Tupac's voice, the rough draft of his voice. We all came from a woman, get our name from a woman, you know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff. So that's an example of using two samples within one. So I just thought that was dope how you was able to break it down and tell people like it ain't as easy as it may appear to you. Like we are hearing the finished product of the song, but we're not knowing how much work these people are actually putting into taking these samples and flipping them the way that they are. Oh
Can you
man,
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now. Wait a minute, we might
Okay.
have lost Casey.
Yeah, it was cutting up a little bit. So we back.
Yeah,
How about now?
yeah. All right, so I don't think
Okay.
Casey can.
All right. Yeah, I couldn't hear the last.
You said you couldn't hear the last thing I said.
How about now? Can you hear now? Didn't hear the last thing you said. I didn't know if you asked the question or how you finished it.
Yeah, I was basically saying that I like how you was able to show people, well, explain to people how difficult it is to do this because we're hearing the finished product of these songs that are coming out, and you know by personal experience how to pick certain things from samples, what I'm saying, from nothing and turn them into a whole song. So like you explaining how difficult it is, I think that, what I'm saying, you painted a picture for people like how difficult it is to do this sampling thing.
Good bit to it. Of the song. If you don't know musical theory, then that you losing in the trying to figure it out part. Um, and you just have to know that when you're approaching trying to give respect to that. Until you really those situations and time it took, then you really can't say nothing about it. And most of the time, I mean, 95% of the time, people are sampling because they love it and respect it so much. It's not a stealing thing. At least that's not their intention. They're trying to, just show appreciation for it, show respect for it, and then show, just their take on it. That's another thing about it is everybody's got their own way that they feel like, man, I'm gonna flip this sample so good nobody will know, or
Mm-hmm.
combination than before. Um, like that's another crazy itself, and even more goes on the different levels of it. But yeah, I had some more off from the Incredible band into a couple more. Did you did you want to say any of the hip hop samples that you was thinking about?
Hip hop samples. Okay, I got one for you. I got one for you. So and the thing is, this was flipped so well. I didn't know this at first. So Rick Ross on the which album was that? I think it was the it might have been the Triller album. He did a song called Aston Martin Music, right? He had Drake on it. I forget who else he had on it. But so Rick Ross do the song Aston Martin Music, but he sampled LL Cool J I Need Love. And I didn't notice in the beginning. And but this is the thing with LL, like even though LL was really like the first, like, I don't know if I want to call him hardcore hip hop artist, but you know what I'm saying? He did Mama Said Knock You Out, you know what I'm saying? I Can't Live Without My Radio. So like, LL has established himself as a, you know what I'm saying? Uh Not hardcore, but a rapper. And then he comes out with the song I Need Love. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like an R&B track. But at the end of the day, he's just slowing his rhymes down and actually talking about how he need love. But I thought it was dope, man, that Rick Ross was able to flip I Need Love with Aston Martin music. So I think that was pretty dope when it comes to a rap song being flipped. Another one that just popped up in my head was, so Drake on the album Nothing Was the Same. He did a song called Wu Tang Forever, right? He flipped one of my favorite Wu-Tang songs, "It's Yours," and like that was that was dope because "It's Yours," man, is I mean that Triumph Cream, like they got so many classics, man. But like what I love about "It's Yours" was like how the beat would switch up. And like and what Drake did was like when they say "It's Yours," like he threw that in there as like a oh man, I can't think of how you call it. It's kind of like he uses "It's Yours" kind of like an ad lib. And like I thought that was a another great dope hip hop flip.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I got some of those on my list as well, but I'm gonna have to check out both of those songs. I heard every one of those. I was gonna go with man. I got so many here. Sorry for the delay.
Nah, you straight.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Method Man and Redman on the Blackout album. Uh, the Run for Cover song they sampled "King of Rock" by DMC.
Oh, DMC. Okay.
I got both of them.
Oh, so you got the vinyls.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna try and I'm gonna run through this quick and just give you some more. So like the I know you heard that old song by Dusty Springfield, "Son of a Preacher Man," but like that was
Yep.
sampled by Cypress Hill, "Hits from the Bone," and and then Wu Tang did it as well with "Preacher's Daughter." And then I got the Wizard here, which is that's Black Sabbath, which is Ozzy Osbourne, and Cypress Hill also sampled that with "I Ain't Going Out Like That," and then Fatboy Slim sampled it with "The Weekend Starts Here." So like Fatboy Slim was another different electronic music. So you know, before I go on, it's like some of the older folks or people who don't understand or ain't done their research, they want to give hip hop a bad name or start digging on them about the samples. But everybody samples across genres. A good point is, especially
Mm-hmm.
even back to the 20s. I'm saying a lot of times the country blues musicians way out in the country, they didn't have no other way of learning music. Somebody might have some records here and there, but um, there would be somebody, they would have to go towns up or even to the next state to listen to somebody. And then most musicians, if you was good, you was on the corner, get money that way. So they would go up there and listen to them, sample it to come back to, get their skills up. So a lot of that was going on early on. They was learning different tricks, different styles from each other, and then they were a lot of times using the same songs, which were mostly you know Robert Johnson, Early Patton, and Barbecue Bob, and Tampa Red, and just everybody had their own different style. So that was a really cool part back then, and you could tell the how they would flip the song. They would they would change the words depending on their area, or you know, use the same music and then put new words to it. And then that evolved into jazz. And then, everybody was trying to outdo each other in jazz. So they was copying other people's licks and songs and then reinterpreting those. Like there's songs in jazz where they, like, oh, I think we can make that song better. Or and it was in, you know what I'm saying? It was the like even earlier Brazil, you know what I mean? They would Sergio Mendes, they would be borrowing from him, borrowing from them, and then like some of the symphonies would do that, or some of the big bands, and then breaking off in all these different styles. Um, and I gotta shout out Cab Calloway because a lot of people, I don't know, fed off his energy and his personality. I think that had a lot to do with different styles as well. I'd say, I don't know, at least three probably just branched off from him. But anyways, so but just to make my point, almost every type of music is sampling in some sort of way. Me actually chopping it, arranging it that way, but they're still doing it creatively, without a machine. We all reprocessing, regurgitating each other's work and trying to improve on it and show respect to, and all that at the same time. But let me give examples. Want to go to Al? You know who that is? It's off "I'm Glad You're Mine" song, and then that was done by No B. That song was Dead Wrong, and then
Oh,
Rhapsody
okay.
did it with Through with him in 2016.
Yep. That's my shit right there.
The Al Green was now Ma Beat did that with Nas and Raekwon. Yeah, that Eye for an Eye. Yeah. And if check this out, Jimmy Castor Bunch, man, that's some of the funkiest stuff you'll ever hear. Right off the rip, first thing you need to listen to is Bertha Butt. Man, I mean that bass in there, man, is like has created music, from 50 years from when it was created. That song is Troglodyte. It's also called Caveman, and Ariana Grande Miller song "The Way" sampled that record, and also NWA "Gangsta Gangsta." So then while we on Jimmy's, I want to go to Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith was a jazz organist. Uh, I mean, he could play anything on the organ. I mean, you gotta just look up all I'm talking about and just expand your mind. But man, he was great. And his song is "Who's Afraid of Virginia Wolf 2." Gangstar did that. Premier did No More Nice Guy, No More Mr. Nice Guy. All right. And then so I'm gonna move on to some other genres. We got Sly and Robbie. Now Sly and Robbie drum and bass duo from Jamaica, and they was just on countless hits. I mean, they was like, uh, you know what I mean? It was like it was before that producer game on. You know what I mean? We would just go around to all these different groups and provide the backbone for for everybody. And they sampled Ennio Morricone. I think I say that right. But now he was a composer for what people call like them old Clint Eastwood movies, stuff like that. They got a real signature sound to them, and that was he was Italian, and it was more than him, and they kind of introduced that style. It's real noticeable. But anyway, that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you see that movie, you know what's up. And that was done by Bad Meets Evil by Eminem and Royce the 5'9".
Okay.
And Hey Young World by uh, all right, and I got to get into my group Digital Underground. I seen them back in 2001.
Okay.
They was originally the kind of chosen as chosen to take on the Parliament. They had an album called Album. They are scratching Jimi Hendrix off my favorite album, Band of Gypsies, and they scratching a song called "Who Knows." Um, and then even Jimi Hendrix, they sampled "We Gotta Live Together" by Sly and the Family Stone. You know what I'm saying? What? You mean Jimi Hendrix was sampling other people? All right, so then we got to get into the so then we got to get into the Bob James. If you don't know who Bob James is and what he means to hip hop, you really need to do some research. There's a special Ninth Wonder talks about on Track Lib, and real interesting. Actually, at the end of the conversation, Bob James agrees to work on some music with Ninth Wonder, which that's one of his heroes. You know what I mean? It's crazy to see how excited he is for that to happen. It's real cool. And a song he did that sampled this Bob James sample is Murray's Revenge with Murs and Ninth Wonder. So Ninth Wonder sampled him back in, let's see, I forgot to write the date, but anyways, like I say, it's just a respect thing. A lot of time it's just like this music is so good that somebody has to hear it. So it's like, let me give you a little mini shout out and you know, see what I can do with it. So like another that Nautilus song, some other people that's used it, Rick, Eric B and Rakim, called Quest, even Freddie Gibbs and Black Thought. They did a song together. I forgot what it was called, but they sampled that. Another Bob James tune is "Sign of the Times," uh, and Warren G sampled that with "Regulate," and De La Soul sampled it with "Keep the Faith." So I only got a little bit more here. We'll go with James Brown, "Funky Drummer," which
Well, don't forget about Michael
hold on a
McDonald
second.
on that regulators as well.
Yeah. What'd you say was on the regulators?
Michael McDonald. I can't forget that we're not in love anymore.
I didn't even know that.
You never heard that song? That's man. That's
Yeah,
Michael
yeah, cool,
McDonald's.
man. Hey,
That's his biggest hit.
I'm sure I would know it if I heard it, but I never searched out Michael McDonald.
Cool, cool. Go ahead, man. You on the road.
I was gonna say, that's the drummer right there. That's the funky drummer right there. That's James Brown.
Okay.
Now this one right here has been sampled over 1,700 times,
Damn.
and that's just yeah, yeah. This the one right here, and so that was sampled by Dr. Dre with "Let Me Ride," just for a few examples, a handful. "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy, "Mathematics" by Most Def, uh, and then like I said, it's crazy all the music that's sampled that. I mean, and that's gonna be in every genre too. Um, that's like I said when I was talking about the dance music, they tore that up too. But there again, that's the break of the song because there's versions out there that's longer than 9 minutes of the funky drummer. So like a lot of times you just taking a little, one to 5 second clip, and that's what they're working with. I mean, almost like 95% of the time, the sample is that. So, to help put it in perspective, let somebody give you a 4 second piece of music and say, all right, make a song out of that, build everything around one. Well, where do I start? I mean, how could what can you even do? And they'd be like, well, well, another James Brown record is this one right here, and it's got Mother Popcorn on it. It's, and that's got Prince. Prince sampled that on the song "Get Off." So there's your another one. Even rock and roll, every genre is sampling it. Just reinforce that. And Dougie Fresh also sampled Mother Popcorn. All right, Rhapsody, Layla's Whistle. She sampled Aretha, Young, Gifted, and Black. We're gonna move on to Nina Simone and her song "Feeling Good." I think I was trying to tell you about that. It's bird in the sky, bird flying high in the sky. You know how I feel. Uh, breeze drifting on by. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life for me. So Makoto did that, and that's the drum and bass. So like that's where and RZA did that as well. So like I said, there's so many samples that different genres are using. Uh, "Do What You Gotta Do" by Nina Simone, and that is from uh, yeah, uh, the Kanye, Rihanna, and Swiss Beats sampled that, and 50 Cent, Wankster sampled that, and then Kanye also sampled Pablo on the album. Like sampled the artist Pablo, "Do What You Gotta Do." So that's interesting. Uh, I'm gonna keep going. I'm getting there. We rolling through. Did you want to say anything first?
Well, I will say, since you brought up Nina Simone, Lil Wayne sampled Misunderstood with Don't Get It on the Carter 3 album. And that was dope. Because you know what I'm saying, he's using the misunderstood, he's using the subject matter of misunderstood and saying don't get it, and he's talking about all the things that people don't get about him and how he's misunderstood. So that was dope how you said that. I also was gonna mention Aretha Franklin, Young, Gifted, and Black, and Rhapsody, Layla's Wisdom. I was gonna mention that. That was dope. And before you get going, before because I wanted to mention this when like when it comes to samples, right? I think that it's impressive to see how far people dig in the crates to find some of these records that wasn't as popular, right? But what I also think is difficult, I think it's the same amount of difficulty, right? I think it's also difficult to take a hit song and sample it because it's a song that everybody know, and you I feel like when you sample a song everybody know, you have to kill it, right? So like the Isley Brothers, Between the Sheets, that's a hit song, everybody know Between the Sheets. it's been sampled so many times, but at the same time, Jim Jones did it with featuring Trey Songz. He did Summer with Miami. Now, Summer with Miami turned out to be a it was for Jim Jones, it was a hit. I love the song. But another song, Lenny Williams, Cause I Love You, that was a hit. I mean, the dude cried on the record. You know what I'm saying? So that was a huge hit. Twister, he sampled it with Kanye West. He did Overnight Celebrity, right? So I think it's difficult to take these very popular songs. Marvin Gaye, What's Going On? Wale flipped it with Love Hate Thing. And then one of the biggest records ever, Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come, right? Nipsey Hussle, he flipped it with Blue Laces too. So I think that it's very difficult to take some of these hit records that was like some of the stuff. I don't have it in front of me. I'm pretty sure some of these, like the original records, like went platinum. If they didn't go platinum, they at least went gold. And to take these songs and be like, I'm gonna go on the difficult end and try to flip these very popular records. So I think the difficulties, I don't know what you think, but I think it's also difficult to find a song that nobody really heard of and you flip that, but then at the same time you flip a song that everybody heard of. I think the difficulties is I think it's difficult for both things.
I think that it is more difficult to sample and flip the those popular songs, and that's something I was touching on earlier. When you pull that off, though, it means so much more to the right people, man. I mean, you know what I mean. You got levels of appreciation on this music, and like, man, when they pull off these samples, like you said, those ones that are real popular, and they either make it new or you know, uh, like I said, just make it unique their own way, and they pull it off like man, much respect to doing it. So yeah, it's just another level. You know what I mean? Like you reaching out to certain people, but like you, that hits you like man, the way you did that sample, that's just like I said, it's a deeper appreciation level, and that feedback means more. Uh, it hits a different part of the heart, I guess. But yeah, that's all. I can't believe I missed that Nipsey Hussle song, man. That Sam Cooke album that had all the hits on it, and I think I let my buddy borrow it. And man, it had all of them on it. It had UD, having a party, Sam. I mean all of them. Side note, Vaughn at work, he used to call me 40, and that's because I used to bring in my record player on the days that we had a lot of work. There was like 6 of us that worked back then in the mail. So I would bring in my little record player and a bunch of records, and we would be jamming to that while we was pulling the slots for the mailbags. It was cool, and a lot of times I brought that Sam Cooke record, or sometimes it was an older lady Gladys there that she grew up then, and that was good times. But anyway, but back on the let me get back into this real quick. I was gonna go to Redman's Whatever Man. He sampled "I Know I'm Losing You" by the Undisputed Truth, classic, and sampled "Ooh La La" by Tina Marie. That was also sampled by Rhapsody back in 2012 with Nonfiction. Yeah, so what's some of your favorite samples from her music? or have you got
Uh,
deep into that?
some of it. Like you said, we mentioned already. The Aretha Franklin record. What she did with Layla's Wisdom. I mentioned on the last podcast. Cleo. She did Phil Collins. Um, the song "Call Aaliyah." She yeah, she
Yeah,
sampled an Aaliyah track on that song "Call Aaliyah." You know, Afeni. She did. You know, what's my girl name? I just said it. Denise Williams. She sampled Nina Simone. Like a lot of the names that she did on that Eve album, she actually sampled their records as well. So I thought that that was really dope. Rhapsody. Her and Ninth Wonder,
right.
man, they got a
Okay,
great
great.
relationship on what they want, man.
Yes.
And I think that that's very dope. Like some of the samples that she's able to pull from, and yeah, it was another record, man. She did a Nina Simone record on the Nina song. So I mean, a lot of that is self-explanatory because like she named some of the artists that she named, she sampled their record as well. So that was very smart, and that was something that a lot of people didn't think of as well. Because I thought that that was really dope, man. Like that album got a lot of subs in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she put a lot of work into. I mean, a lot of extra stuff. You could tell it's just a love and appreciation. Um, so yeah, tell everybody to go. They need to go check out that album, listen to it about 2 or 3 times to start to pick up on everything, and then do your research on those people she's talking about. Um, I'm gonna move on to Outkast Elevators. Uh, they sampled Blue Suede Shoes by Carl Perkins and Black Country Woman by Led Zeppelin. They sampled Is This Love by Bob Marley, which you know. Let's see. Where's my uh, Stevie Wonder sampled jamming from this Bob Marley album Exodus. So that was Master Blaster on the Stevie Wonder. So like, you know, just got to reinforce that the respect is there. You know what I mean? Across cultures, across continents, across whatever type of music you listen to, however old you are. Uh, everybody is sampling from everybody. It's just look at it in a love and respect, and you know, growing your creative potential. I mean, I would love to, like put on my vision board, but for real, it would be just so awesome if I could pick different DJs like and producers like Ninth Wonder and Questlove and Scratch Bastard and DJ Cuber and the Alchemist, and how cool it would be to just go hang out with these cats and just look through their record collection and work on songs with them. I mean, it would just be, you know what I mean? I can let it play out in my head, and I'm like, man, I would just stay there the weekend. You know, they could just let me on the air mattress or wherever and I would just stay up for 3 or 4 days straight, looking through them, picking out samples, and then you know work here knew they decided to, you know, like work together on a project. You know, that's a definitely that'd be one of my favorite situations to be in. To you know what I mean, to already have all those curated collections to look through. And like if you ever get into, I mean, everybody knows what it's like to find treasure. You know what I mean? You some everybody's been searching for them. You finally get that feeling of getting having your hands on it, man. And that's crate digging and looking for records and stuff, man. I mean, it was just really excited to get up Saturday mornings and go try and find a new antique store, a new spot. So and that's what like I said, just to reinforce the respect, man. It's a deep passion for people's work, picking it apart, seeing how you could use it, seeing if wanting to impress them with how you use their music. Um, so and people could get started, if easy nowadays. They can get some software and they could write from your phone into the computer, put this into a program and chop it up. I mean, it's super easy nowadays. So just if people want to do that as a hobby, do it for a couple hours or ask a friend, just to start to get into it, to give it a little bit more respect and appreciation.
For sure. And I will say, man, what you mentioned, like with me being a podcaster, I think I would rather do what you said than to interview these guys. I would rather sit in the studio with the Alchemist and like be able to work with him. Like I would rather work with him in that capacity than to interview him. Like Ninth Wonder, the same thing. Pharrell, the same thing. Justice League. Like I would love to be able to sit in there and get those creative juices because, like I mentioned to you before, when me and you were talking about that podcast I did with Scoots, and I was like, dude, I got all these ideas of like what I would want to do with certain songs that I hear all the time. Like, but I'm like you, I would want to cross some genres. Like, I would love to sample like the "Give Me Shelter" song by the Rolling Stones. I would love to sample Led Zeppelin, Kashmir. Like there's a lot of R&B people like from back in the day, whether it's Bill Withers or Marvin Gaye, Frankie Beverly and Mays. I would love to do A Golden Time a Day by Frankie Beverly and Mays. Like there's so many songs that I listen to and it's like little bits and pieces that I would want to take from it and like make it my own and make like a hip hop beat out of it. Like I got a playlist on my Napster what's called slow rap, and like basically all that really means is basically when people it's basically sampled songs like R&B songs that are sampled and how rappers have flipped it. Like that's what my slow rap playlist basically consists of. And like, yeah, man, what you brought up, man, that was awesome. Like, I would love to like be able to, for number one, make sure my kids are good, and be like, just be able to stay up for a whole weekend and just put together like a whole bunch of tracks, man. Like that'll be like a dream come true, man.
You know what I mean? That times we was in my basement working on that track together, man. That was a lot of fun, and I think that if we have the time, I could show you ways to flip it and chop it and do all kind of things with it, and then uh, just trying to lead me through it on how to how you want that to go, and then you be the supply the ideas, and then I'll construct it, and we'll just keep mangling it until we get it where we want. You know what I mean? I mean, that would be crazy if it was a future episode. I don't know. It'd be awesome if we could do it at least once a month. But if we had that time to spend the weekend together, or I mean, really just a full day, I think we could get majority done. And it ain't gotta be. We could just showcase it on the pod and just be like, "Hey, look how we did this." We're not selling this or anything. We this is something we not making any money off of this. We're just doing it strictly. Y'all check out me and Sean work the sample out. This is what we started with. This is what we're going with.
Oh yeah, that's something, man. We could definitely do. Like the biggest thing is just trying to find the time because from where I'm moving to, what I'm saying, for you, staying out in Gaffney, what I'm saying, we pretty much like an hour from each other. So, just trying to get that time in, and we both family, man, and with the things that we both have going on. But like that'll be dope, man, because I got so many ideas. The only thing is, like with those songs, is I mean it'll be something that we would be basically doing for fun because we can't really use like these people records because so you got to pay for those type of samples. And that's another thing that people that aren't into music like we are, like you can't just take somebody likeness and make it what you want, because also me and Scoots talked about, like, it would have been dope if we would have been able to do even this episode. It would have been dope to be able to play people their examples, to actually play these records and then play the new songs, and like so people could just see like, oh, okay, I see what they did there, type of thing. Like it'd be great for people to hear that, but it's just the fact of, if it's heard by the wrong people, they can sue you and they can get my podcast taken down and all this type stuff. But it's I think that music is one of the most great, phenomenal things that we have, in our lifetime, man. Like, that's why, because like where I'm moving to, it's a little bit longer ride to work. And like the reason it's not no big thing to me is because like that's my time to get in my mode, like while I'm driving to work. Like I listen to, a lot of these songs on my way in because there's a lot of things that I like to listen to. I like to put myself in this mode, you know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I do when I have like a long ride. So that's really dope. But Casey, we was gonna get into one other thing, but you know what I'm saying? We'll save that for another day. But man, it's always truly an honor, having you on this platform, man, and also the things that you do for me behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? You got something, you're working on something else. I gave you some examples of some things that I would like to do for this podcast in the future, and you always are willing to work with me. You you know what I'm saying? Like, the friendship that we built through this podcast. Like we basically, for the people that don't know, like we've been working together behind the scenes going on 4 years, man. The Stolen Time podcast will be 4 years in like 2 months. So you've been working with me, man, the whole time. And like, you know, I truly appreciate it, man. Like I tell you all the time, man, you're a diamond in the rough. Like a lot of people don't see it. It's one of those things where it's, what I'm saying, like you are an unknown, but like you're starting to be known. Shout out to our homegirl Candace. She hit you on the gram and said, "Yo, she loved that new intro beat for the Stolen Time podcast." And like, man, that's one of your greatest works, man. So all you're doing is getting better in this producing slash making beats game.
I appreciate that. Yeah, any feedback is good feedback, and I am working on trying to get that put together for you. whether it's any kind of creative work. Just know that writer's block, that say it in the simplest form. So if you're struggling with something, just step away from it a while and come back to it. It may not come as soon as you want it to, but when you do get that feeling, and then you need to act on it and go ahead and get in your mind. So try and pay attention to yourself more. You know how your mind and your heart works together, and when you're in your best creative space, and then whatever you want to work on, get it. I added some stuff to that one thing I let you listen to. Um, some parts of that, but I'm working on it. And man, I sure appreciate you having me on here. It's always fun, and I learned something. And let's keep it rolling.
Yes, sir, man. And before we get out of here, everybody, keep my co-host of the Stolen Time podcast, Uncle Washington, on your mind. He's still going through some things. He still haven't been able to be back on the podcast. So keep your prayers out for him. So shout out to him. Love my guy. Shout out to Scoots Bronson, the co-host with me on the Viewers Anonymous podcast. We dropping heat over there. So if you love listening to movies and TV shows and documentaries, you can go find that on all major platforms. If you want the visuals of that, you can find that on Scoots Bronson TV on YouTube. Also, shout out to Candace. I just mentioned her. Appreciate her and her feedback on this on these podcasts. She's been on this podcast before, so I appreciate her for coming on. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Sinclair, shout out to Dustin for coming on that last Stolen Time podcast with me. Um, I just truly appreciate everybody and everybody's feedback, man. So got more stuff to come. I'm putting more focus in on this 28 minutes or less podcast. So be on the lookout for everything. And also, man, shout out to my guy Casey for coming on and doing the work that he do. You know what I'm saying? He's my favorite producer. So with that being said, this was episode 42 of the 28 minutes or less podcast, and we are out.